Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mirror Podcast. Tulisema hiyo next ndio hii sasa.
Ndo tumekuja.
Bas. So you're hosted by Anthony Mana and Alvin Fadhili. Nisiposema jina yake ataanza issues.
Mbona nianze issues? I have no need.
Sawa. The topic of the day is generational trauma, and we will be trying to understand generational trauma. So you'd be asking, what is generational trauma? To me, generational trauma is unsolved unsolved pain, fear, and
yeah. It is peer, don't worry.
Pain, fear, and dysfunction that has been inherited from generation to generation or passed down from generation to generation. Yeah. What is it to you?
Mimi niko na generational trauma kweli. It's trauma that has been passed down from like one generation to the next, whatever kind of trauma it is. That's all I can say about it.
Right. So what causes there to be trauma passed down from generation to generation?
The lack of solving it.
So it's unsolved problems.
Yeah.
Right. So we can quite clearly see that our parents had problems that they refused to solve.
Everyone has problems.
No, you wait. See, we are putting it into context.
Sasa ungesema hivyo.
Our parents had problems that they refused to solve.
Yeah.
So when you refuse to solve problems, as earlier said, they tend to go to the next generation. Same way people believe in generational curses and all that. And sijui guka yangu alirogwa na auntie ya shushu ya sister yangu, sasa mimi nitakuwa mfupi or something like that. Same thing. If you have uchawi that can cross generations, you have problems that can cross generations. And there are many problems. From our grandparents, they had colonial type problems.
Yeah.
There was slavery, there was nini, there was oppression, there was a lot of problems really. Even the societal norms at the time were different. And to some people they were a problem, right? And some people decided to question them.
Yes.
So they questioned their colonial rulers and whoever was in charge at the time. And this ended up causing them to form new societal norms, which brought its own good and bad, right? Because everything has its good and bad. Nothing can be too good or too bad. It just depends on the way you see it. How does generational trauma manifest itself in society right now?
Wow. It actually comes up in so many different ways. There is creating avoidant behavior. Basically being unable to connect with people emotionally or even physically. They're just avoiding certain situations because of how that trauma has affected you. Basically, you end up being distant from the rest of the world. Other situations, you show up in different ways. You mask or whatever is happening to you with something else. Like try to show up with a different, quote-unquote, socially acceptable version of you. Suppression, where you hide everything, just bottle up and don't show anything. There's hizo zingine zimeenda wapi? Addiction. There's how did I even forget that? Cycles of abuse. So what a cycle of abuse is the same kind of abuse you went through is the same kind of abuse you put someone else through.
I'm trying to imagine what abuse I've gone through. Right?
Yeah.
Just give an example so that
basically, let's just look at physical abuse. Let's say you were being beaten as a child.
Hey, wow.
You're being beaten constantly.
Does corporal punishment count?
No. Corporal punishment is different. But that can't be generational trauma because it's not being passed down.
Oh, yeah.
But if it's your father or mother beating you every single second, you might find yourself actually ending up being an abusive partner or even an abusive parent. Or, on the other hand, because you have been only shown abuse in this physical aspect, you will go and get yourself into relationships where, or get yourself situations where you're being abused as well. So you get into an abusive relationship, you have abusive friends, and this doesn't mean physical abuse. There's also emotional abuse, throwing insults anyhowly, no matter even the smallest things, even when you've done nothing, there's just abuse being thrown at you. There's also funnily enough, there's financial abuse. This is where you're neglected. It actually happens mostly to women, where you get into a relationship, or let's look at it from its origin. Your parents were very strict on what they gave you, the kind of life you experienced, the kind of money they gave you. It was, they were calculating to the very last cent. So they give you 100 shillings, go buy bread and milk. Wow, that was back then. Sorry.
Hey, right now,
Wow.
Mskasirike.
Wow.
I know it's bad. Breathe in,
but
breathe out.
I have felt the pain. I have just remembered. But yeah, so they give you 100 shillings, tell you, go buy bread and milk and bring back the exact change. Buddha says that
That's impossible, man.
You just have to pick one.
We're facing economic hardship.
Wow, you either take the milk or take the bread so that you go back with change. But anyway, yeah. So they calculate every single cent, yeah? And when you ask for something, they're like, I don't have the money for it. And then you find, let me just give an example, yeah? You are 3 siblings. You're the firstborn. You're the secondborn. So there's the first child, and then there's the lastborn out of 3. So when you ask for something, they're like, they don't have money. When the firstborn asks for something, they're like, okay, how is this going to help you? The thirdborn asks for something, they're just given. If it's like being very segregated, that you don't get anything that you want, that is abuse. But anyway, so that's the kind of abuse that could occur in terms of cycles of abuse. And other ways it might manifest.
Perfectionism. Perfectionism not of your own. Let's say your mom wanted to be a doctor, or your dad wanted to be a doctor, and they weren't able to, right? And then you're just children, you're existing, you're chilling, you're enjoying life. Then all of a sudden, you're being pushed to do things because your parents wanted to do them, right? You're being told you have to go to medical school and nini. Your interests might not be there. If they're there, if your interests align with your parents' interest, man, you're winning in life. But if they don't, it's a sticky situation, because you might find your parents don't want to listen to you.
Yeah.
Right? Your dad wanted to be a doctor, but he couldn't get into medical school because he was playing sports. Try to play sports. You will see what generational trauma is like. It will come up in the worst ways possible. You might actually even be good at sports, but since that was what hindered your parent in this case, you will not be allowed to pursue it freely. I also see the prevalence of the situation where Kiboko worked for us, so it will work for our... You see? And our African parents, well, I honestly can't blame my parents for beating my ass when I was a child. Me actually thank them right now.
Miacha nikwambie, hey, your Kiboko, it doesn't work for everyone.
Well, yeah, but for those of us who it worked on, we're thankful.
Hata mimi, I'm thankful for those, okay, not all the time.
Man,
select few.
Kuna saa zingine,
bwana, unanipiga kwa nini? Nimefanya sasa kikombe ikianguka. Please. Bwana, tena naambiwa na ukikuwa mkubwa, you owe me 12. Madam, I'm children bana. Hey, you're already giving me debt in future. but anyway yeah
unataka nianze na negative nikifika 18
bana
why
na huwa nakumbushwa tu nakaa hivi na by the way kikombe yangu hey relax hata ugoje
high stress levels
Yeah,
also cause this to happen, like generational trauma, especially if like your parents worked in a stressful environment and it gets transferred home.
yeah
So then you, since you're used to like abuse from your parents, you transfer it, even you become an abusive parent. So technically, generational trauma is trauma that has been passed down. So the causes of trauma, like stress,
whatever kind of cause it is and the thing is there is no one cause, like the cause are as many as sand in the sea and it's not one category. Trauma can be caused by you just feeling different about something and someone mocking you about it. It can be caused by you being beaten. It can be caused by a variety of things. So it's really important to actually touch on what kind of trauma it is that has appeared and how to deal with it.
Step 1.
Yeah.
We need to deal with this thing. Step 1 is both us and our parents need to accept that there's trauma. Right? You can't deal with something if you don't acknowledge of its presence. Even when you go to the doctor, okay, these days unaendanga hapo umeanza tu kumwambia naumwa na ashaanza kuandika, you're like boss si you hear me out kwanza, ushaniandikia panado ya siku 10 na anyways you need to like acknowledge that there are certain things that need to be dealt with, right?
Yeah.
Maybe your parents grew up in an abusive household. They need to acknowledge that this happened to us, right?
Yeah.
So for us to do better, we need to accept that it happened and go find ways to not pass it down, right? Even us, eventually we're going to become parents. Even us, we have trauma right now. Personally, passing down trauma is something that I aim not to do, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I don't want my children to have to deal with my problems, right?
Yeah.
They will have their own set of problems. So it would only be fair. Fairness is a very relative thing. For them to have a chance to deal with their problems and not mine, right?
Very
so
true.
As a parent, if you have stress-related problems from work or from where, life is difficult. You have problems from life. Learn to deal with your problems. Learn to accept your problems. Learn to find ways of solving your own problems, right? So that even when you interact with people like friends and all that, your friends don't need to become your therapists. They can, but don't make it
their job.
That when I'm with you, you have to be listening to me and I'm just spitting problems. Guys, let's be healthy people, right? We've talked about helping yourself and self-improvement a lot. I think we'll still keep emphasizing, but we should now take initiative. Time for talking is now done. Go do something about yourself, man. If you don't feel too well, don't diagnose yourself with depression. Go see someone, see a professional. Alvin said a problem shared with a professional is 3/4 solved. So maybe that's the solution you need.
Yeah.
So now, also onto breaking the cycle, we need to be aware, right? That's the first step.
Yes.
We also need to introspect, find the problems within ourselves. Because it's easy to point out problems with people. You're like, he does this. What about you?
Yeah.
What problems do you have? What do you do to them? Because you also have a part to play.
Yeah, of course.
Right? It's not like you're faultless.
You're not a holy Joe. You're not. Yeah.
And even if you think you're a holy Joe, shock on you, man.
Way.
You might be shocked to realize this holy Joe of yours is a front. Also, we need to challenge what is norm to us.
That's right? True. Yeah.
Let's say you grew up in a household where you could beat your partner. Challenge that thought and say, if I didn't do this, would it be better for me or worse? Right? So that you see what actually makes sense. Not just doing things because people did them. We've been talking about people drinking a lot lately. And Alvin said that the number of times he's been in a place and he refuses to drink and then everyone panics, he's crazy. Why? why that is so is people don't like challenging norms, because when you challenge norms, it's now you. It's not the norm. It's why are you not doing this? You know, when you're in a group, it's easier to do things in a group. But when you're alone, you will be tested a lot. Society will test you. People will test you. You'll be questioned. All manner of things will happen.
Yeah.
But we need to challenge these norms, right?
Yeah.
We also need to be okay. For you to challenge norms, you'll have some sense of independence, right? So when something happens, have independence of thought, right? If you think differently and there's platform to air out your opinion, air it out. Maybe it will help. Maybe people suffer a lot and say nothing about it. So you might be a voice of help to certain people.
Yeah.
Because people can tolerate things and act like they don't happen, but people need help.
That's
outside here, people need help. Because even if you look at the mental health awareness movement, it's helping a lot of people. Like, people are realizing things about
themselves, yeah.
And self-improvement is getting easier because you know what problems you have or what challenges you have as a person, and there's steps to be taken to improve. So it's a lot easier for you to just improve. Unlike when you had this challenge and you know nothing, it's like it's a blank page.
Yeah.
At least now, there's when this happens, do this. Breathing exercises, what, you know?
Yeah.
It's easier for you to deal with problems. Therapy, guys. Tell us about therapy.
What about therapy? So,
tell them the thing you tell me all the time.
It's very important. Everyone needs therapy.
Not that one, the other one.
Waende therapy.
Yengine Sasa.
Which one?
Therapy does not mean.
Oh, that one. The most important one. Everyone needs therapy. Waende therapy. Yeah, but anyway, therapy does not really mean having a sit down with a professional. It also means doing things that actually bring you some kind of relief. Things that actually get you out of this space that you have been engrossed in, this space that you're kind of drowning in. Let's say an example Anthony gave is he likes playing football. So football can be his therapy, but at the same time, it can be an escape. So the problem about having these quote-unquote things that you like as forms of therapy is that they can change really quick to it being a coping mechanism or an scapegoat, yeah? So it's really important. So if you want to use the things you like as a form of therapy, is you go there, enjoy whatever you're doing, enjoy. So it gives you the ability, like the happiness that you need. And then from there, you actually break down what was affecting you. Like break down what was troubling you in your mind. Try and now look at it from the different perspective of how can I change this? Because now you're in a better place. You're not as sad or as depressed or as drowned by that thought. You're now feeling better about it, and you're able to now be more conscious about how you treat things and how you perceive them. So you're able to decipher and break down the problem. But I will say again, therapy with a professional is very needed. Everyone needs it. No matter where you stand, no matter who you are, everyone needs therapy. And it's important for you to go for therapy and therapy with a professional. Like sit down with someone, talk. Just talk. And the thing is, therapy, it's not this big thing people try and someone is going to see all your problems. It's you who's talking. Like we as therapists we don't have any juju magic where we see into you. We don't.
Right.
It's just a conversation. You expressing yourself. And you would be shocked how much of a change that does to a human being.
Also, onto stigmatization of this very issue.
Yeah.
For older generations, bana, mental health does not mean you are in Madhari, bana. Guys, you're a human being. Things happen. You need to do a wellness check on yourself once in a while. Going for therapy does not mean you're insane. Insanity and mental health need to be separated, especially for like older generations. There was a serious amount of stigma associated with being mentally aware.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
So tell your parents, if you're listening to this, tell your parents they need to go for therapy. Tell your parents they need to express themselves more.
Very true.
Tell your parents whatever they're doing is not right for them. Because our parents and generations older than Gen Z, for this particular case, have tended to conform a lot more than us, right? So they've put up with a lot, to be honest, from abuse to bad habits to, what's not. Society has become better now, and the only way to become better moving forward is to help everyone, right? So your parents need to understand that some of the habits they have are bad for them. Some of the things they do are abusive. Some of the things they do may not be the best things to do.
Yeah.
And some of them are actually already onto the movement. And I see parents who go to therapy tend to be happier, right? People who are aware of their mental health and working to improve it tend to like even have more introspect into themselves, tend to be more expressive. Not just things are happening and you are just there like, you see.
Yeah.
It's okay, guys. It's okay. And I see the thing where our parents fear social judgment more than us.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
Our parents tend to mask. You were talking about society being a bunch of fake people. The fakeness level increases by however much older you get to some point, because I wasn't there. I can't really say that people were fake. Maybe our forefathers before colonialism were actually real people and had real problems, and even the social aspect of things. Right now, we're isolating ourselves more. This is now a Gen Z problem. And we're working more and we're socializing less.
Yeah.
This will eventually lead to trauma.
Yes.
So with this knowledge, you can then say, okay, I won't isolate myself as much. Working is important, yes, because the economy right now is crazy. Money right now, as we were talking about bread and milk, it's tough. But even with these problems, you still need to understand that you're a human. You need to be social. You need to have friends. You need to have a support system. Guys, a support system is very important.
Very true.
Because a support system where you can openly air out your problems and express yourself will actually even help you know yourself better. It'll help you deepen your relationships and find out more about you, your friends, and even deal with your trauma better. Because I might tell you a problem and then you're like, okay, so I had the same problem, but I didn't see it like that. So now we have a different perspective, and then we can solve it. Two heads solving one problem is always easier than one head solving the problem. So for our parents, we also need to, and us now, we also need to stop blaming things, scenarios, and move past that. Uhuru Kenyatta was telling us to stop being mad that Trump stopped giving us money because it's not his government.
You care less.
Yeah, he owes you nothing, man. He does not serve you. You did not elect him. He has nothing to do with you, by the way.
Don't pay him taxes.
Yeah. So learn to solve your own problems and learn to not blame things, scenarios. You'll be at a more capable position, and
very true.
Most likely will stop even feeling helpless. Because there's a very prominent thing on society right now where people are feeling helpless. It's like we have all these problems and you think or you see that you can't help yourself.
Yeah.
So maybe stopping blaming everything, stopping to blame everything, every scenario, every occurrence will help you to say, okay, I have a part to play in all of this, right?
Yeah.
I have a part to play as a brother, as a sister, as a father, as a mother, as whoever really.
Yeah.
And try to improve society, right? Okay, if Alvin does something, I tell him, hey, boss, hapa sasa, kuna vile
unachoma.
Unaniumiza kidogo. To improve too, ndio, for our own well-being. Because you might ignore things and then they harm you, which is something very common in society. You just ignore. Ignoring the problem has led us to this point. Ignoring our parents ignoring their problems, they got transferred to you. If you ignore, same. You see? So we do not want to cause a chain reaction of ignorance. We want to break the chain. We want to learn to not have mental health struggles. We want to deal with our trauma. We want to be okay with ourselves. We want to introspect and see our lives and be like, live the life you want.
We want to break the chain and now lead a life that you are comfortable with. Lead a life that you feel safe within. And I'll go back to something I said in actually the previous episode and another episode before that. It begins with forgiveness. You have to forgive yourself and forgive the people who actually hurt you. Because you can't get over the trauma without forgiving all the parties that were involved, including yourself. So it's really important to, first of all, understand the trauma you are facing. Try and find the root cause. Try and see where it comes from. See why it happens like this. Why things play out the way they do. See how you cope with it. See how you hide it from the world or how you show it to the world. Understand what steps you need to take to break it down. What you need to do to now unlearn this coping mechanism you have built to safeguard yourself, heal from this pain, and now grow from this situation to become a better version of yourself. And lastly, you need to find peace with everything that is happening around you, because life can't be shit. Life is shit a lot of times. And the most important thing is, when it's bad, it's not bad for you alone. And it does not mean, I'm disregarding what you're feeling. I'm just trying to show you that each and every experience is unique to you, but is not solely your own. So everyone is going through something in this world, in one situation or the next. And it's important to give yourself the cushioning or the safety to understand that being a human being means you have to go through certain situations in life, and you have to have the strength and the will to push through. Yeah.
Also, stop escaping. Stop escaping. Coping and escaping is bad for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can have positive coping, where you deal with you cope with a situation for the moment because you're unable to deal with it at the moment. So you push it forward a bit to deal with it later. But there are positive and negative coping mechanisms. Negative mechanisms.
Wait. We want that content. We want that one. So you are telling us about positive and negative coping mechanisms.
Yeah. So I've actually talked about this before. I'm not quite sure which episode it is, but it's somewhere back there. So there's positive ways of coping. Positive ways of coping are the ones that push you forward towards being able to solve the problem. And negative coping mechanisms are the ones that bring you down. They don't solve the problem. They just cover it up. So let me start with negative coping mechanisms. These are, the ones that really affect you in a negative way. So alcoholism, running away from the problem, which is basically avoiding.
Working.
Yeah. Okay, working in what way?
Working to avoid
dealing with
the problems.
So avoidance. Any form of avoidance.
Yeah, okay.
Any form of avoidance. Suppression.
Substance abuse.
Whichever, yeah. I had the list right here. So how it manifests. So there's addictions, suppression, perfectionism, anxiety, low self-esteem, depression, insecurities. Those are just some. There are quite many, yeah? You can find the others on your own time. So those are the negative coping mechanisms. Positive coping mechanisms are ones that help you push towards solving the problem. I'll give an example. Noting when you're being defensive. Yeah, defensiveness is also another form of coping mechanism. So noting when you're being defensive and choosing not to be defensive, but not dealing with the problem. Just airing out the fact that, I realize this is a trigger for me, and I know I am being defensive at this moment, and can we deal with this later? Yeah. So communication, being intentional with the problem. And this being intentional means you don't run away from it. You put it aside until the point where you have the right mental space to deal with it. So you, let's say, go watch a movie, go give yourself a sweet treat, or whatever feels nice for you, so that you're able to rise, to increase the dopamine level in your body, so that you're able to now think consciously about the problem. And positive coping mechanisms are wide. There are many. And I can't talk about too many of them because I don't really know much about them, because I haven't really looked too much into them, because they work differently based on the person. But it's mostly about getting yourself in a space where you feel better about yourself or feel better about the situation, so that you're more able to deal with it. And it's really difficult, by the way. It's really hard to be, it requires a certain level of self-consciousness to be able to get yourself out of this, so that you're able to now deal with the problem as it is. Yeah.
Right. So what to note? We need to note that trauma is things that may or may not be caused by us, but it is our responsibility to deal with them, break the cycle, and become better.
Yeah.
Also need to learn that if you don't solve your problems, chain reaction, pass them down. So don't burden your children, guys. If you plan to have children, even if you don't
burden your partners, and don't burden the people around you, because it also affects relationships. And relationship does not mean romantic partners. It means any kind of relation you have with another person. Yeah.
So learn to be better, do better, want better. Be in spaces that promote wellness.
Yeah.
Be it mentally, financially, emotionally. Be in spaces that give you the ability to express yourself. Be open to expression. Your opinion or your perspective matters. It might bring new things into light, right? It might bring new understanding. It might bring a new way of solving things. Also, we need to understand that some people may or may not be ready to accept the challenges they have. So even them, you need to give them grace and time to see things your way. They might, you might be very aware of what problems they have, and be very able to help them. But people have their own pace in this life. So some people might be faster or slower than others. Just give people the grace of not knowing or knowing their problems, and we'll be okay. Right? So from us to you, try as much as possible to not pass down generational trauma. Yeah.
With that, thank you for getting to this point. And kindly, if this has gotten you, has given you kind of insight or has struck something in you, kindly look into yourself, introspect, and figure out what you need to do. And if you think this is something someone else would like, kindly share it to them. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and please subscribe to our channel. And as always, this is the Mirror Podcast. Thank you.
Yes, sir.